every single opportunity I've ever gotten has come from a person or a relationship or a connection. So my book is called Be Seen, and a lot of people that read my book are going to want to build a brand. They want to build an audience, or they even just want to be seen within their family or their communities as who they really are. And all of those opportunities that they'll get in order to do that, whether that's an opportunity to just be seen by somebody that says, I get you, I see you, like I hear you, I'm here with you. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Or maybe it's an opportunity like, let me put you on my podcast, let me put you on my stage. All of those opportunities come from people and networking and connections. Every single opportunity I've ever gotten, when I trace it back, the dot that connected me there is always a person.
Welcome to Journeys Through Change, a podcast that inspires women to let go of the fear and say yes to possibility. I'm your host, Noelle Van, an author, creator, and empowerment coach who spent years in corporate America helping innovators and leaders ride the waves of change with ease and grace. I now work with women to step into change and unleash the power they have to create a life they love. Whether you're contemplating a change in your career, relationship, health, lifestyle, or anything in between, nothing's off the table. I'll be offering up simple insights to help you manage the ups and downs of change and sharing interviews with successful women who took a leap of faith to create the life they knew they were meant to live, sharing their wisdom, advice, and all the juicy lessons they learned along the way. So get cozy in your favorite comfy chair and let's get started. When you think about your life, do you ever have a moment where you look back and can actually see your experiences as dots on a map that have led you to where you are today? Our guest today is no stranger to change, and her life has been a series of pivots that have not only offered her perspective, but have made her a powerful force helping women all over the world recognize the beauty in their journeys and the power they have within to step out of the shadows and be seen. As Jen Gottlieb was pursuing her dreams of becoming an actress in New York City, her hard work and determination paid off when she landed a role in the Broadway national tour of The Wedding Singer. But that was just the beginning of Jen's acting career. She went on to land a role on a hit TV series on VH1 called The Metal Show. Jen was cast as Miss Box of Junk, aka the Vanna White of rock and roll, on a show about heavy metal music. There was just one little problem. Jen hated heavy metal music. After her show got canceled and her cheating boyfriend left her all in 1 week, Jen turned her breakdown into a transformative breakthrough when she realized that sometimes shit happens so that shift can happen. She went on to create the fulfillment, alignment, visibility, and impact she dreamed of by finally stepping into her very own spotlight and allowing the world to truly see her. Jen has helped thousands of business owners, coaches, and experts gain the confidence and skills they need to discover their passion, be seen as their true selves, and stand confidently in their own light. Jen, I am over the moon to have you with us today. Welcome to the podcast.
So happy to be here. What an intro. You better send me that. That's actually, I want to use that. That was really good. I don't even have to talk anymore. Like, I think the interview's over. I think you just told everyone everything they need to know. Bye.
I love this. No, because I love that you can fill in all the blanks because there's so much detail around your story. And I love that just to have you here and kind of walk us through your journey is going to help so many people because I just feel like you've had a lot of twists and turns. So I cannot wait to get started. I kind of want to ask you, and I know kind of going back in time, but let's talk a little bit about when you were kind of sitting in your little New York apartment. I remember you told us that you were in a tiny little apartment at the time that VH1 had gotten canceled. And it was like the same week that you had broken up with your boyfriend. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was pretty much like everything went to shit, but went to shit in a very short time frame. It felt like it was all at once. I think the universe was doing something for me in that moment now that I look back, but at the time it kind of felt like everything was crumbling around me and it was like, could anything else go wrong? You know, it was one of the most helpless times ever in my life where it was one of those moments. And in the book, I actually talk about, I remember sitting in that room when I actually had to move into this apartment with like 6 other actors. I ended up subletting a room, 6 actors that lived there. My friend had a room in this apartment and I needed somewhere to go. And she was going and doing a show for a few months somewhere. So I was like, I'll sublet your room. It was like, she's like, great, pay me a couple $100 and you can sleep in my room. I had all my boxes. My entire life was in this tiny little room. And I remember sitting amongst the boxes. And I remember my ex-boyfriend dropped me off. This was in the book and it got edited out of the book. And I'm going to tell your audience something that was really like a moment that was very profound now that I look back. So the relationship that I was in at that time was really toxic and unhealthy, and it was very much a relationship where he wanted to pay all the bills, he wanted to completely financially take care of me, he didn't really want me to do much other than my acting career, and that was the cycle that we were stuck in, this codependent cycle where it was like he kind of liked the fact that he was financing, like, everything for me, and I thought that I needed to be in a relationship like that, and we needed each other for all of these reasons. He actually helped me move out. He kicked me out of the apartment. He's like, "We're done." Like, I found out later on that he left me for one of my friends. I'm sitting in the middle of this little room with all these boxes around me, and he drops me off and he gives me $500 in cash and walks away. And I remember looking at that money and putting it on the floor and be like, no more. It has gotten to the point where I finally saw it all. In that $500 in cash, I saw everything that I needed to see. That was the beginning of a transformation for me, but it wasn't at that moment when I had the transformation, because at that moment, I just felt probably the deepest sadness and most helpless I've ever felt in my entire life. And I say this out loud, and I want your listeners to hear this, because if you're there, if you're at any level of that helplessness or sadness in whatever is going on in your life right now or going on in the world right now, I want to make sure you know that, like, everybody's been there at some point in time or some version of there. And you might look at me online and you might look at my story and you might look at all the things that I'm doing now and think, well, she, it just like came out of the womb like that. Absolutely not. This was a moment where I thought, oh my gosh, what the hell am I going to do? I'm done for. Like, I've got nothing now. Some guy just dropped a $500 on the floor and like walked out. And so now what do I do?
And that is such a profound moment, too, I can only imagine, because it almost feels like time stands still when that kind of thing happens, right? You almost are just like you're taken to a different place of like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you? I know it was a step by step process, right? So, did you go right into another career? I know you'd started doing health fitness instructor, all that. Was that even a glimmer in your eye at that point? Was it something that you kind of had to take some months to kind of get to a place, or how did you really get there?
It was a glimmer. It was a thought that I had. I wanted to be a personal trainer when I was in this relationship, and I was an actress, and I was like, a really great thing that I could do to make some extra money when we're not filming the show and when I'm not in a gig, like, would be being a trainer, because I love to exercise. I love to help people. Like, that would be a great thing for me. And I always wanted to do it. And I would always tell my boyfriend, like, I want to do this. This is something I want to do. And he would say, no, don't do that. I'll take care of you. You don't want to have a job. You don't want to do this. Just go audition and do your thing and like stay at home and like keep the house clean. Seriously, like, this was like the mentality. And so I never did it. And then at that moment, I was like, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, I got to do something. And this is what I always wanted to do. So I'm going to go become a trainer. And that's the only thing that I could think of that I wanted to do, because I didn't want to go back to being a waitress. I waitressed so much as an actor. I was a babysitter so much. Like, I didn't want to do that. I was like, I want to have a career where I actually enjoy what I'm doing and I can also audition and keep going and trying to do my acting career at the same time. At that time, I actually had a membership at this really fancy gym in Manhattan, like one of the most fancy gyms, expensive gyms in Manhattan. It was called Reebok Sports Club at the time. And I had a membership there because ex-boyfriend paid for it. And we broke up, but I still had a couple of days left, or like a couple of weeks left on my membership. So I was like, I am going to be a trainer at this gym. I had no experience training anybody. I had never trained anyone before in my life. But I knew that if I was going to be a trainer, it was not going to be at any gym but the best one. And so I decided that I was going to make this my goal. I was going to go from not having any experience being a personal trainer to being a trainer at this gym. I would go to that gym every day, and I would be there all like morning, all night. I would hang out. I would talk to people. I would meet everybody there. I made sure I knew who the managers were. I made sure I knew who all the trainers were. I started to find out, what do I need to do in order to become a trainer? What certifications do I need to get? What do I need to do? And I just made it my goal. I had no other choice. I was like, this is what I'm doing. And this was the first time that I really ever discovered discipline, hard work, and connection and networking, because I was like, I better network my butt off. And I end up begging them for a job. I remember sitting in the office with the like trainer manager, and I did not have a NASM certification, like your certification
Yeah,
that you have to
yeah.
have. I've never trained anyone in my life. I was like, I promise you, I'll be a great trainer. And he was like asking me all these questions. And it was like, I was at the boardroom, like going back and forth, like, what do I have to do to get a job here? I was begging him. He's like, all right, fine. I'll let you be a trainer here. But before you can train anybody, you have to first It was basically like being a gym janitor. Like you have to like work the floor for a certain amount of hours before you can train people, which basically meant I had to clean up the gym from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. basically every single day. So I had to do this for months before I could take a single client. But this was such an important time in my life because this was a real time where I learned the power of hard work and discipline. And if you really put in the work and you really, really want something, that discomfort of like, I remember being so tired and being at that gym. And I was like, I'm going to be the best damn gym janitor you've ever seen in your life. I'm going to put away every single freaking weight. I'm going to say hi to every single person. I'm going to be the best that there is because I had no choice. And I became a trainer there. And before I knew it, I became the top trainer there. And then before I knew it, I became a top trainer outside of there. And then they fired me because I was taking all the clients out of the gym and starting my own business. And that's kind of how my entrepreneurial journey began. There you go. A lot. I don't ever tell the story. You just got a lot out of me. This is like some of that story I've never even told on a podcast ever in my life. And I've done probably over 100 podcasts at this point.
Oh my God. Well, Jen, first of all, what cracks me up though is because you are such a strength. You are very strong. And I have this feeling that you've had that seedling in you all your life, right? It just needed to kind of like, okay, push a little further, push a little further, push a little further. Okay. So you are now like top of the game after several years and really kind of going from the beginning, the start to the finish on your own. So now you're in this business, and what sort of pivot comes next for you?
I got fired from this gym and they said, you can never, ever come back here. You can't be a client here. You can't be a trainer here. You can never come back. It was like, what I did was terrible. I never come back ever again. They basically banned me from the gym. So it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to go build my own business. So I started building JLG Fitness. It was a fitness company. I did online coaching. I had trainers that worked under me. We were training all of the top, like CEOs, some celebrities all over New York City. I became successful and I was able to get my own apartment and I was able to have like a life where I was making money and making impact and life was good. But the problem was life was good. So I got to a point where it was like everything was steady. I was working all day. I couldn't really grow and scale past where I was. And I was really freaking lonely. Like I was really, really, really lonely. And entrepreneurship can get unbelievably isolating. And they don't tell you that when you sign up to be an entrepreneur. I was working all the time. And I knew that the thing that was missing was there were two things. Number one, love and a relationship. I really wanted a relationship. And number two, I'm a performer. And when you're a performer and you're an actor and it's in your blood, you need to express it. And when you're not expressing it for a while, it starts to nag at you. And I was like, how am I going to perform? Like, I miss it so much. I love what I'm doing, but there's so much more. So I started diving even more to personal development, like listening to so many podcasts and going to personal development events. And I am a student of this stuff. I like dove headfirst in to the personal development world and like did all the things. I ended up choosing a word of the year one year. I'll never forget this. I remember the moment that I chose it. I was listening to some podcast and the lady on the podcast was like, you should choose a word of the year to guide your decisions for the rest of the year. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, your word of the year should make you want to throw up a little bit. And I'm like, okay. It should scare you.
Right.
So I'm sitting in my little apartment by myself with my dog. And I'm like, shit, I know what my word needs to be. And I wrote down on a piece of paper, connection. Because I was so lonely and I was such an introvert and I didn't want to go connect with people. And I knew that that was what I needed to do. I was going to events, but like I was keeping myself very, like I was doing the introvert thing, you know, where you don't completely open up and you don't really talk to people and you make every single excuse under the sun to keep yourself in your bubble so you can't grow. And that's what I was doing. So I make my word of the year connection. I'm walking down the street one day and I noticed that the gym that I got fired from suddenly is no longer Reebok. It's now Equinox. So I was like, oh, it was acquired by Equinox. This means all the people that banned me no longer have any power. So then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go in this gym. It was like God came down and said, you have to go into that gym because that's where you're going to connect with people. You need to network. There's someone in there you need to meet. So I walk right into that gym that I got fired from. I start working out there. And within a week, I bump into an ex-boyfriend that I dated when I worked there ages ago. And he was like, what are you up to? And I told him, I was like, I built this company, like I'm crushing it, but I'm here because I want to network and meet people. And he's like, oh, there's this guy that I think does something similar to you. I think you should probably meet him. And he gives me the name of this guy and I go home and I Google this guy. And it turns out this guy is known as the super connector. And I'm like, oh, I think I need to know this super connector guy. My word of the year is connection. So I'm like, okay. So I connect with this super connector guy. And before I know it, we've got a date on the calendar to go for a walk in Central Park. The morning that I went to go on that walk, I did not want to go. I did the thing that all of us introverts do where we look at our
Yes.
phone and we pray that they cancel. I did not want to go. I had to force myself to get to that bench. There was a bench in Central Park where I knew I was going to meet him at. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
just go to the bench. Just get there, Jen. Just get to the bench. I know you don't want to go. You have to connect with people. I had to push myself to go there. And I get there and I sit down. And then this 6 foot tall New Yorker like walks up to me and he's got these aviator sunglasses on and he pulls down his sunglasses and he looks at me and he goes, who's luckier than us? I don't know if it was a pickup line. I still don't know if it was a pickup line. I don't know. But no one was luckier than us in that moment.
Yeah.
I didn't know that 5 minutes before when I was forcing myself to connect and get to a bench and meet some random person that I was about to go meet my husband and my business
Oh,
partner.
I love that story, and that feels like so Chris too to say something like that. Now that you know him obviously so well, what's so crazy about this, and I have had this experience in my life before, which is why when you just said that, it really hit a note with me. At times when things are ready to like really open up in your life, it's almost like you're telling yourself, like you said, you were like, just get to the bench, just get to the bench. Because sometimes it's almost like you're fearful of it because you know it's going to be big. You don't know why. It's like there's an intuition happening that like something is going to really, it's going to make a seismic shift in your life, and you're hesitant. And then it happens and you're like, oh my God, okay. Well, of course, obviously, and you met Chris Winfield, everybody, who is an amazing in his own right, obviously. Okay, so that's so crazy. I was going to ask you about your visualization, which I just love that story.
That was part of it too, where I would
Yeah.
visualize like being in love and all of it. There's so much to the story. It's all in the book, but I definitely manifested him completely. And when I
Yes.
met him, I was like, holy crap, this is the guy that I've been talking to and like visualizing and like having conversations with for the past year. But it's just my reminder to me, like always, like you're one connection away, one meeting away, one action step away, like from everything changing. I did not know that like all of those steps guided by one word, which was connection, was going to lead
Right.
me to meeting my husband. But more so, yes, I met the love of my life, but meeting Chris was also a gigantic impetus for me, like to actually start being seen as who I really was or who I really am, and like really stepping into visibility and really stepping into honing in on what I really wanted to do. He gave me a lot of permission to really step into that and to like, why don't you, start building a brand? Why don't you go a little bit further? He pushed me so much and I pushed him so much and we together pushed each other. And then we came together and was like, well, why don't we build something together?
I love to hear that because I feel like it was two very strong individuals that have had,
Yeah.
you both brought to the table what you have now as kind of a unit, which is so special, I think. I feel like your media company and just being a part of it in the small amount that I have been up to this point, I feel like you guys really you lead on service and you lead with gratitude. It's such a wonderful just environment to be around. Just being part of your events and things like that. I know you can feel that it's based on connection. That's what you guys are about. So tell me a little bit more. Just I know the word connection is one thing and it means a lot. And I think especially to those of us introverts, because I
Mhm.
completely know what you mean by that, where it's you can either go there and kind of be part of the wall, or you can go there and really open up. And it's always a decision every time.
Mhm.
So, do you feel like that is where you lead from now? I mean, I know that sounds like a very small question to probably a very big answer, but you guys give so much to so many communities of people. And I feel like that's what drives you a lot.
Yeah, it's like I never wanna go. I never wanna go, but I'm always happy I went. It's always that. I, try to talk myself out of doing things like I don't want to. Our brain, our fears do all this crazy stuff to us, but I've gotten really good at being able to understand and know, like, kind of look into the future, the way that I'm gonna feel when I get back from that. Because what I've noticed in my career is every single opportunity I've ever gotten has come from a person or a relationship or a connection. So my book is called Be Seen, and a lot of people that read my book are going to want to build a brand. They want to build an audience, or they even just want to be seen within their family or their communities as who they really are. And all of those opportunities that they'll get in order to do that, whether that's an opportunity to just be seen by somebody that says, I get you, I see you, like I hear you, I'm here with you. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Or maybe it's an opportunity like, let me put you on my podcast, let me put you on my stage. All of those opportunities come from people and networking and connections. Every single opportunity I've ever gotten, when I trace it back, the dot that connected me there is always a person. So connection is key. That's why the third part of the book is be connected. And it's all about how to make those relationships. And yeah, most of the time, especially now, because we had that whole year or two where we didn't have to connect with people that much, where we don't
Yes.
really like to do it. We like to stay behind the screen. We don't like to go out. I know some people that do, but I'm not that person. I don't like to do it. But when I do it and I make the relationship and I meet that one person that I have that really deep conversation with, or like we sit here and jam out on this podcast and I feel so great, made my whole day for the rest of the day, like that connection, that feeling, it's all worth it. You just have to do it enough to realize and reprogram your brain that once you do it and you're uncomfortable for a little bit, you actually make amazing relationships and opportunities and all the wonderful things that come with doing that hard thing that are worth it way more than that temporary discomfort of being like, oh, I'm uncomfortable in this social situation.
I was going to say, you have really grown too, in terms of how you've explained evolving. I mean, being on stage, being part of masterminds, it's almost like you've opened up broader and broader and broader. You've grown so much over the course of several years in terms of being able to do more and more, but you share how hard that was.
It's still hard.
Exactly. I mean, being up on stage to me would make me want to throw up, basically. But I know, even from just watching you and hearing your stories about how you've evolved, and you were on stage and in theater, so that was part of your background, but still, that takes time. It takes practice. It takes doing it again. It takes saying yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel now, like, do you ever look back and go, oh my God? I mean, because seriously, over the past 3 years, I want to say, maybe 5 years now it's been, but the past 3 years, I feel like you guys have just skyrocketed. Do you feel like, wow, okay. I mean, like, if you were to say something to your 20-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Well, I'm going to answer the first part of your question because it's so
Yeah.
interesting. Because people, and I want everyone to hear this because I'll always, and especially with you, Noel, like I'm only always going to be like as honest as possible. You sit here and you tell me from the outside looking in, you guys have crushed it. You're crushing it. You're doing amazing. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not even close to where I want to be. I'm like, this feels hard right now. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, this feels hard. I'm launching a book for the first time in my life, and this feels hard. I wrote a book about being seen, and I am being seen on a level that feels really hard. And it's scary and it's uncomfortable, and I'm pushing through it. And it never, for me, I don't know, like maybe I'm just the type of person that's like, I always feel like I'm climbing. I don't always, any time do I ever really feel like I got there. Even when I was just speaking the other day in front of 7,000 people at an arena, I looked out at that arena and I was like, I've seen this vision before. I've seen this before and I am here now and this is amazing and this feels incredible, but let's keep going. It was immediately like, okay, what's next? And I don't know if that's a bad thing.
No, are you kidding?
But when is it enough kind of a thing? I don't know. I battle with that. I don't, when you say that, I'm like, oh, but I'm not even close to being there. Like I would tell my younger self, like when you're 37 and you launch your first book, that's just like the baby step that's getting you to where you want to be. Like you think it's hard, but it's nothing. Like that's what I would say. Like just wait.
Yes. But see, this is what's so wonderful is that you have a blend of humility with ambition. You're ambitious. I mean, I don't know if ambitious is the best word. I mean, people always think of ambition as like, oh, you're just climbing. That's not that.
I like ambition.
You want to continue to be better and do better and all that. That's growth. That's life, right? And then you also have this humility about you that's like, I'm kind of scared. I don't know. I mean, I just think that the blend that you bring to people, and I really cannot emphasize this enough. And I know what you say, it's like harder to hear it maybe because you're living it. But I do feel like there are so many women that you touch, and there's so much needed out there in this world today. And I'll speak as a woman making my way as well. So much of that is needed. And you have such energy and the humility combined, which we all, I think, need to see. Because we're all kind of getting up in the morning and just trying to make it work, right? We're just trying to figure out what comes next. We have to talk about this book because I know we've been skirting around it, and I want to talk a little bit. Be Seen. It's coming out today. It's a time machine that we're in. So if you hear this podcast later, coming out October 31st, I'm going to put that out there. Amazing. I'm excited. I'm on pre-order. I can't wait. So tell us just a little bit about it. Because I know there's kind of 3 parts to it, 3 or 4 parts.
There's 4 parts to it, but it's kind of like 3 parts and then the obvious. So the first part's be courageous. So that's all about connecting with who you really are, because you can't be seen by the people you want to be seen by and build the audience that you really want if you don't know who you really are. Because that was the lesson that I had to learn, showing up as a heavy metal girl forever. And that was the audience that I built. And that was what came crumbling down. So the second part then goes into be creative. And it's not about being creative, like telling the greatest stories. That's later on in the book. When I talk about being creative, I'm talking about creating the future that you want, the version of you that you want to be seen as. That's when you mix a little bit of real you with you 2.0 and you start developing who you really want to be. And that's where I tie in the law of action mixed with the law of attraction. I don't say manifesting in the book at all. I say creation, because I feel like we're co-creating our future with the universe and our actions and our intentions and our beliefs. Then we move into be connected. So the important part that we were just discussing, the making those relationships, networking, all of my hacks and tricks that I use as an introvert to network with people and make powerful relationships. And then the last part is all about being visible and being seen, and all the tactical strategies that you would need nowadays to build a profitable brand online and be seen. Even if you're just starting out or if you already have a brand, all the tools that I've used are there. And then my stories are throughout each chapter. I wanted this book to be a book where you can learn something and take something away from every single chapter. At the end of every chapter, there's like a little box where it's like the bullet points of what you just learned. So you don't even have to read the chapter.
Nice.
You can just read the bullet points. And you can
Cliff
get
notes.
the takeaways. Seriously, how's that? Because I like that. Because sometimes I'm not going to read the whole chapter and I just want to get the takeaways, and it's there and you can get a recap. But every single chapter will have personal stories from me in my life and how I messed up or how I won or how I figured it out, and then how you can too. So it's all stories, tangible takeaways, and it's fun. It's a fun book. I wrote it when thinking about my girl. Like, I literally thought about sitting across from my girl. Her name is Kayla. It's this woman that I made up, but she's who I'm talking to. And so the voice of the book, you'll feel that I'm talking to you. It's completely in like a totally conversational style the entire way through, which I think a lot of you guys, or I'm talking to you guys, like a lot of your audience, everyone that's listening, I think you'll appreciate. If you enjoy me and the way I communicate, that's the way I wrote the book. It's not fancy schmancy. It's literally just my voice.
I love it, Jen. The world needs to read this. I mean, I really believe that. I just want to thank you, not only thank you for being a guest on the show, but to thank you for holding that space for so many of us, because I've been touched by you in a lot of ways, more than you probably would know. And I just feel like you're a light. And you're definitely guiding a lot of people that need that, and continuing to grow and change yourself, which is exactly what it's all about, right?
100%. This was so fun. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
so
you for
proud of
joining us.
you.
Thank you, Jen. And I am equally as proud of you, right? We're proud of each other because women support one another. That's the key,
Exactly
right?
That's the key. That's the key. And everyone that's listening to this, you're in the right place. You're in the right place, being guided by the right person. So stick around.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks again. All right, that's it for now. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Journeys Through Change podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or really wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to follow us and leave a review if you've enjoyed this episode. And share it with a friend or on social media to spread the good word, so more women like you can find us and join in on the fun. For more information on the podcast or Day by Day book, go to livedaybyday.com.